It was created by the man who designed the Plymouth Barracuda and the Challenger. It has a massive 8-liter V10 engine that was built by Lamborghini. It doesn't need traction control or anti-lock brakes. That's why it's the fastest American car at the Nürburgring. That's right guys, today we're talking everything Viper. I'm the backseat driver and this is 0 to 60 with Viper. Back in the day, Chrysler wasn't exactly doing that great. Their sales were plummeting, and soon they would find themselves in a financial crisis if they didn't do something quickly. So in 1988, Chrysler's president, Bob Lutz, told Tom Gates that they needed to build a car like the Shelby Cobra in order to spark interest in the brand again. Tom Gates had a major role in the design of the Plymouth Barracuda and the Dodge Challenger in the 80s, so he seemed like the right man for the job. A clay model was designed a few months later, and a concept was presented at the North American International Show in 1989. The public's reaction was so supportive that Chief Engineer Roy Soberg decided that the car would be a standard production vehicle. Soberg chose 85 engineers to be Team Viper and started working on the car. Chrysler asked Lamborghini to design the engine for the car, and by December 1989, 2 test mules were ready. Although powered by a V8, the V10 that was meant for the Viper all along would be ready 3 months later. The first generation Viper, or SR1, arrived in '91, with 2 pre-production models being built. One of the cars served as the pace car for the Indianapolis 500 that year and was driven by Carroll Shelby. A hasty decision was made by the race managers to remove the Mitsubishi Stealth as the pace car due to complaints being made about the Asian car leading the field in a strictly American race. The first gen Viper was built entirely with performance in mind. It had no exterior door handles, windows, power locks, AC, or a roof. It didn't have traction control or ABS either. The first gen Viper was powered by an 8-liter V10 called the RT10. It busted out 400 horsepower and weighed 711 pounds. The Viper could reach 60 in 4.2 seconds and ran the quarter mile in 12.6 seconds. The SR2 came in '96, with most of the parts being carried over from the SR1. But changes were made, including the exhaust being changed from exiting out the side to exiting out the back, which is lame in my opinion. But it did reduce back pressure, adding an extra 15 horsepower. Totally worth it. The SR2 Viper also had power windows and a removable hardtop. Some suspension parts were also replaced to aluminum, aiding in 16 pounds of weight reduction. Later in that model year, Dodge came out with the GTS Viper. The GTS was essentially a coupe and was powered by an updated version of the RT10 V10 and produced 450 horsepower. The GTS featured racing stripes in its classic double bubble roof that enabled drivers to fit their helmets in the car during track days. Over 90% of the GTS Viper received new parts, unlike the SR2. It was also the first Viper to have airbags. In 1996, Dodge built a Viper race car to compete in the Le Mans class for IMSA. The car was unveiled in the same year as the IMSA GT Championship, with racing team Urica. In 1999 and 2000, Urica branched out and began racing in both ALMS and the FIC GTC Championship Series. In 1999, the Viper ACR was introduced as an optional performance package. The ACR package included an updated air intake, adjustable suspension, 18-inch BBS wheels, and also removed the AC and radio. A lap record was set in Willow Springs International Motorsports Park when the Viper ACR set a lap time of 1 minute 34.9 seconds. This was the fastest lap time for a car built in the 90s. The third gen came out in 2002 and was called the SR10. The new Viper underwent major design changes specifically to the front fascia. The initial model was a convertible, and the V10 displacement was increased to 8.3 liters and produced 500 horsepower and 525 pound-feet of torque. In 2005, a coupe version made entry, keeping the classic double bubble roof like the SR2 GTS. The power of the coupe was increased to 510 horsepower and 535 pound-feet of torque. The SR10 could accelerate from 60 in 3.8 seconds and had a top speed of 190 miles per hour. Due to ongoing financial problems within the company, Chrysler stopped production of the Viper in 2007. It was a sad time for the Viper and its enthusiasts, and it seemed like the mighty run of the Viper was at an end. But in 2008, the Viper was back with its 4th generation. It had an all-new 8.4-liter V10 with 600 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. A bunch of improvements were made to the engine, including better flowing heads with larger valves, dual electronic throttle bodies, and a higher rev limiter due to improved valve train stability. The exterior was relatively the same as the 3rd gen, but the major difference was the vented hood. The Dodge ACR also came back for the 4th generation Viper. It clocked 7 minutes and 22 seconds at the Nürburgring and at Miller Motorsports Park was the first production car to break the 2-minute mark with a recorded lap time of 1 minute 59.9 seconds. Just as things were looking better for the Viper, Dodge president and CEO Ralph Giles announced in 2009 that the Viper would end production in the summer of 2010. During an event hosted by Dodge and the Viper Club of America on July 1st, 2010, the last Viper was shown with a gold finish and accentuated by contrasting orange stripes. But the snake was raised from the dead once more in 2013, when the Viper, now by SRT, was unveiled at the 2012 New York Auto Show. The engine was again increased to 8.4 liters and was rated at 460 horsepower and 600 pound-feet of torque. The car had all the bells and whistles: electronic stability control, traction control, 4-wheel ABS, Pirelli P0 Z-rated tires, 4-piston Brembo brakes with fixed aluminum calipers with vented rotors, bi-xenon projector headlamps, LED turn signals, and taillights. The car was just too expensive and sales were poor. So in 2014, Dodge halted production for 2 months. During this time, Dodge reduced the sticker price of the Viper by $15,000 and renamed the then SRT Viper back to the Dodge Viper. It was a bold move to try to keep the Viper alive, and they sold for a couple more years. The Fiat Chrysler Group announced in October 2015 the end of the Viper, and that it would be discontinued in 2017. But before its end, the 5th Gen Viper saw the return of the ACR. It was initially shown as a concept at SEMA in 2014. The base price was $121,395. It featured an all-new carbon fiber aero kit that produced 1,500 pounds of downforce. Brembo brakes with carbon ceramic discs helped to stop the snake. It wore custom-made Kumo Esca V720 ACR tires that helped it break 14 track records and set a 7-minute 1-lap time at the Nürburgring, making it the fastest street-legal American car. The GTC customization program was created for the 5th Gen Viper. It offered 8,000 different paint colors, 24,000 hand-painted stripe options, 10 wheel choices, 16 interior trims, 6 aero options, and an undisclosed amount of standalone choices. Dodge says that there is a total of 25 million different combinations. Not only that, but once your Viper spec is confirmed, Dodge will make a one-of-one model, meaning that no other person could have that exact same spec Viper. In 2015, the famous Viper Time Attack was released. There was a 1.0 version and a 2.0 version. The production numbers are unknown, but they are very rare. The power output was the same, but due to the massive aero pieces, the front splitter and the rear deck lid spoiler, both made of carbon fiber, caused the top speed to drop to 193 miles per hour. It wore matte black Sidewinder 2 wheels, Pirelli P0 Corsa tires, race and street driving modes, Damptonic suspension, carbon fiber underhood X-brace, Brembo brake rotors with black anodized Brembo brake calipers, painted with the Viper logo in TA orange. Later in 2015, the 2.0 Time Attack model was launched. The 1.0 was sold by SRT, and the 2.0 was sold by Dodge. The 2.0 refers to an updated aero package, which incorporates a bigger rear wing, new front dive planes, and a new carbon fiber front splitter. Even with a surprisingly short, but still amazing history, the Viper is one of my favorite cars. The looks and sound are just so incredible. I'm sad that it's gone, but in my head, I tell myself that the Viper came back 2 times during its run. It could happen again, and I'm hoping that it does. It's such a unique and remarkable car, I know its return is inevitable. It's only a matter of time before they're rolling off the assembly line again. Thanks for tuning into this episode of 0 to 60. Tell me in the comment sections your thoughts on Viper. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow us on social media to get updates before YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.